So we are going to talk about taking a teacher resume, which is typically a chronological resume, and turn it into a skills-based resume. So this video is not going to be formatting correctly 100%. It's not going to be making it look pretty. It's not final touches. It's just the point of this video is twofold. Looking at going from chronological to a functional resume. So that's the very, very first thing we're going to look at doing. And then we're going to look at changing a little bit of the terminology to make sure that it's a little bit more of what you would see commonly come up within the instructional design, training, development industry. Otherwise, if it's very teacher focused, it may not appear, or some people may not take it seriously. It's just the way it is. So we're going to get started. So I have this resume here. As typical, we would have an objective, our education, our skills and ability. This is like a high-level overview, maybe some bullet points, or maybe some people might have like an actual paragraph in their resume going over high-level skills, abilities, and achievements possibly. Then we get to the chronological stuff. This is usually the meat of the resume in regards to where we worked and what we did. So we're going to go through and basically strip this out. We're going to make it more based on skills. And the key is you want the skills that you use more aligned with what job you're going to be applying for. So we'll talk about that. And then this one, we have some personal information down here. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize my screen and go side by side. So that is the sample resume of a teacher. So as you can see here, I have two resumes side by side. This is the very first draft. There's going to be 6 different steps that we're going to go through and kind of show how things have progressed and changed through each of these different versions. The first one we just scrolled through. It starts with skills and abilities, and then it's a chronological order. This next one over here, I'm going to scroll down. You're going to see it starts with experience. The heading, we could say achievements, we could say relevant experience. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I'm just using experience for now. And all these headings can change based on what you're putting under them, what applies to you. So basically what I did was I took every single one of these skills and abilities. So let's see, presents relevant information to learners. Okay, I decided, which I may not be right on this, but just as a sample, I figured presents relevant information to learners. That's probably within facilitation. So I created a bullet point for facilitation. And then I went and I looked proactively keeps accurate learner data. To me, that's data analysis. So I put it down here. And then I created a heading trying to think, okay, what fits this paragraph, this bullet? This bullet to me is like data analysis, learner analytics, evaluation. These headings are not final. It's just me kind of walking through the process of how I get this going. So the next one down, contribute stability and conflict resolution within a team setting. So I put that under management. Creates engaging instruction. Right here under facilitation, proficient with writing and editing skills. So I ended up putting that over here under facilitation. Again, you can move it around. That may not belong there to you. So basically went through each of these and figured out different headings in the next version of where this should go and where it should end up. Okay, so now we're going to compare step 2 and step 3. Step 2 is on the left, step 3 is on the right. So as you can see, this is what we reviewed a little bit ago. There's 3 bullet points under facilitation, ed tech, and creation. So now there is 1, 2, 3, 4. There's still one here, management. There's a whole lot more under management. And then there's communication and teamwork. So on this third version, where did all this come from? Well, I'm going to scroll down and show you. So I'm not changing any terminology. I'm just pulling things, just categorizing different headings so far. So I took, let's see, co-led academic gifted students. So right here, I thought that might go under management and coaching. So I'm basically copying things from the chronological skills, pasting it under the correct heading that I've created because I think this person is going to be looking for a job that has some kind of facilitation, ed tech, or creation, like maybe instructional design, e-learning development or something. I think it sounds like maybe some kind of data analytics. So again, I'm formatting these headings based on what I think in real life I would be talking with this person at the time, going through it with them to actually figure out if I've done this correctly, or helping them customize it for a specific job so that it is more appealing to the employer. Anyways, going through, take all these bullets, move it over here. So now we're looking at steps 3 and 4. Step 3 over here, step 4 over here. So it looks like the only thing I really did was start to pull out the items from the experience, which I then labeled into a section called awards and recognition or accomplishments. So again, taking all these out because they seem like awards or accomplishments rather than the experience. We want it to be very basic and bare in regards to just the titles of what it was they've done. You'll see how this evolves in the next few steps. So now we're looking at steps 4 and 5. So over here on the left is step 4, over here on the right is step 5. As you'll see, things look quite a bit different. This is where I started to actually get in and actually reword some of the items. So as I was looking here, and I tried to keep everything in the exact same order that it was that I copied and pasted just so we could see side by side. So let's see if that's what I did here. So collaboratively planned with district math coach and presented on-demand lessons to be observed by school administrators and filmed for teacher coaching. I changed that to model classroom facilitator selected for teacher preparation video production. You can reword that, but basically it's getting in the word facilitator. It's getting in the word, teacher preparation, yeah. We're getting video production. So you're shortening it, you're making it more concise, but it still gets the same point across, at least from my knowledge of what this person did. From me just reading this, it's getting the same point across. So when I'm speaking to them, there might be more, and that's actually incorrect and needs to be changed somehow. So let's look at the next one. Presents relevant information to learners in passionate and creative ways with attention to collaboration, grouping, and various learning styles. So presents relevant information. So I changed that to, I believe this is the one I changed to, creates engaging learning experiences for all levels of learners. Creates engaging instruction that is curriculum-based and includes digital presentation software. So designs and develops instructional media. Proficient with writing and editing skills. I left that. I'm going to scroll down here and see. So this one, I turned this into 3 different bullet points. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's the way you need to do it. That's just what I did when I was going through it. So side by side. Proactively keeps accurate learner data and uses data points to evaluate efficacy of instruction and deficiencies. And you can read the rest. So I broke that into collects, curates, and analyzes, I should have had learner data or learner's data. This is not grammatically correct as of right now. We're just moving things around, reorganizing and restructuring. Improve instructional methodologies and modes of delivery, creates individual learning and assessment activities for learners based on data analysis. So moving on down, management and coaching. I rewrote them as, it looks like I think this one contributes as safe. I think I moved somewhere else, or I combined these two, it looks like. So I have it now. Maintains a safe, inclusive, and well-managed learning environment. Acts as middle manager between teachers and administration. So I have that right here where they had liaison. I changed that into acts as middle manager between teachers and administrators. Coached and facilitated multiple classroom assistants to work with students. Change that to coached and facilitated classroom assistants and carrying out specialized teams is what it should say. Co-led academic gifted student cluster. Led team to research, develop, present, and implement school-wide positive behavior plan. So as you can see, they all mean the same thing, but they're a little more concise. They're a little bit changed up because somebody in the education, or a lot of times in teaching, we need those specific terms of, non-speakers of English, or students with IEPs or behavioral disabilities, or special program type things like that. And what if you're moving into instructional design, learning development, they just need to know the fact that you've at least experienced something similar to that. They don't need to know all that extra information. And honestly, if you leave that extra information in there, in my opinion, it probably would make some people think that you're not qualified, because it would get them off on a different track, thinking you don't have the skills needed in corporate, which I know is not true, but that's what a lot of people would think. So anyways, moving on down. So let's look at the program development and implementation. But you can take a look and see what I did there. But basically, not that these are right and accurate, and these should not be final, but it's just an idea to get you started of how to change your chronological resume to a functional resume. So what you're looking at now is the 5th step compared to the 6th step. And in this step, this is step 5, step 6, left, right. On the right hand side, this is where I started getting into more formatting and spacing and consistency. I still did not go through and do grammar. I still did not. This is not final. The headings might need changed. There's still a lot of questions in this, and it really should be discussed with somebody to figure out what it is. And then it should be customized for each employer you send it to when you find a job you really want to get into to impress them. So, few things. Objective has changed. I will let you pause and read this if you want to see what I did. I'm not going to walk through it word for word. I'm going to scroll down though, but you'll see the relevant skills. Clean those up more. I combined some things. So for example, I initially had the heading facilitation ed tech creation, but as I kind of went through, it looks like I think I combined this with the program development, because they all kind of seem like instructional design, curriculum development, program development, however you want to word it, based on the job you're applying for and based on the experience you really have. But I went ahead and combined those into instructional design, curriculum development. And then you could choose to use one or the other, or you could use your own heading if those don't work. You can move any of these things around. So moving on down. Then we went to, I was thinking data analysis, learner analytics, or evaluation. I selected data analysis. Management or coaching. I selected coaching, and I thought about connecting and putting these two groups together. So that's a call you would make on your own. Instead of communication and teamwork, I changed it to collaboration. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the education section. So the education section, it actually looked a little bit different than this. It did. This is how it looked initially, I believe. I've done a few changes, but basically you see here how it was all capital letters. I made it just so that the title itself is bold. I don't know that you need capitalization for that, but if that's your style, go for it. When I'm looking at this, the place they went is not important, and the date is not as important. More important is the degree. And I might want to consider spelling this out instead of MS. I might actually want to say master's degree. That might be better than what I have here. So I would say master's degree, and then you could come down here and put MS, and you could move this around. So there's a lot of stuff you can do here. I'm going to take all that away. But anyways, that's just another idea. Now, the reason I decided on the spacing that I did is because we're already on the second page, and there's a whole lot of information here that we can take out, which would leave the second page basically blank and empty. So in order to discuss this, I'm going to bring it down and show you what I mean. So if I had all of this as one line, which is where I started going with it, this page would be bare. So I went ahead and I actually tried double spacing. I tried all kinds of different spacing, but I think this looked the best for what I tried in the short period that I experimented. So I ended up with the education looking like this, ended up with experience looking like this. Awards and recognition, I made it 2 separate lines. So this is a spot where whoever this is, we could come in, we could put some kind of explanation here to match the formatting of the prior award and recognition. They could choose one of these headings to go with. You don't have to go with them all. And then the volunteer work. So personally, at a certain point in my career, I kind of stopped putting a lot of this personal information in there, but that doesn't, if it's for you and you want to do it, I will never tell you not to do something your gut feeling tells you to do. But for me personally, I didn't want it in there, so I would take it out, but I would leave all of this extra volunteer information, and I would have a section for volunteer, or I would take these jobs and duties and place them up here in the relevant skills if they are relevant skills. So what we're looking at here is what we started with on the left versus what we're ending with on the right. When I say we're ending with, this is not a final version that I would recommend sending out to anybody. I haven't proofread it. I haven't done the grammar. These verbs might be incorrect. Some of it might actually be incorrect how it is. But the two main points of this for you to take away is how to go from the chronological to the functional resume, and then also how to just change up some of the wording a little bit for the industry that you're going into. So I'm going to go side by side, and you'll see the objective has changed. You can pause and look more if you'd like. Change the order of education because it seemed like the relevant skills are more important than the education, but if the person feels education is more important, then that should stay up top. Skills and abilities have changed to relevant skill. It should say skills. Moving on down. So all of this experience here, these bullet points and the bullet points prior, have been rearranged and reworded, reorganized over here. And the education section, the education section we saw from prior on the first page. I'll have to take you up there and show you. So this is what it looked like initially. Still looks pretty similar, but just made it so it's not all capitalized. Just drawing a lot of attention to stuff that I don't think really is as important, possibly, based on the job you're applying for. It might be. Experience, put it out here. So basically consolidated all these into one section with just the titles where they were at. And then words recognition, that was kind of listed in here as well. I pulled those out. And then the volunteering, got that information from right here, kind of reworded a few things, made a few bullet points, and then took out the personal information. Hopefully that was helpful. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or suggestions. Again, this is just a draft idea version. Thanks.